here has ever had a receipt fly out of their hand while they were walking across the street, or out of their bag while they were walking, or out of their car? I mean, what did you do? Did you pull over? Did you chase after it and try to get it? Did you try to make things right? If you didn't, or if you were unsuccessful, then you might feel a little bit of shame, and well, that's normal because it's littering, and whether you littered on purpose or on accident, it's a little bit shameful. I am angry because people still litter on purpose with no regard for anybody but themselves and getting to use this beautiful world that we live in as their own personal trash can. I was driving with my friend down the interstate the other day, and from out of the car in front of us, I saw fly a cigarette butt. And I only kind of jokingly said, I hope that person has a really terrible day. And my friend, I was expecting him to agree with me, but instead he says, I don't know, I've done that too many times. And I was like, completely shocked. This friend literally helped me clean up multiple trash bags of garbage last Earth Day. I mean, I was not expecting that at all. I knew he was a former smoker, but him outing himself just now as somebody who used to litter and just throw his trash on the ground wherever he wanted, not just his trash, but his cigarette butts. I mean, that's disgusting. Hopefully the lecture that he received from me in the car following that helps him better decide who he should judge harshly next time. It's the litterers. You should always judge the litterers. I'm going to be sharing with you today a few solutions that I've come up with to combat the littering problem in the world, and that everyone can really take part in what you should do to prevent littering in the future. Communication is so important whenever you're trying to get anybody to do anything that you want them to do or display some kind of desired behavior. I mean, how many people go out every day and buy something just because they saw or heard an advertisement for that product? And people will pay a lot of money for something that was advertised to them at times. What I'm selling is completely free. It actually costs less money to throw something away in its proper bin than to throw it on the ground. Litter cleanup is expensive, and it shouldn't be necessary in the world that we live in, but it is. A lot of the time, people will care more about something if it's affecting somebody else that they love or they care about, or something else that they care about. For example, whenever avid smokers try to keep their children from smoking cigarettes even though they themselves smoke cigarettes. Of course, they don't want their kids to hurt cigarettes because they know that it's harmful. Professor Daniel Reed and Dr. Julia Kolako have actually shown that it's more effective showing littering explicitly harming somebody or something than just general statistics. Again, communication is really important because sometimes people just don't know what the effects of doing something are. Sometimes people don't know the consequences of their actions, and they need to be educated about that kind of thing. Professor Reed and Dr. Kolako cite that when unawareness comes into play, especially regarding the lack of information about littering, then people can sometimes fall victim to what is called optimism bias, which means that people will just assume, because they don't know the negative consequences, instead of assuming the worst, they will assume that what they are doing isn't having a negative effect, even though it actually is. Communication is such a powerful tool. Communication is such a powerful tool. Whenever people have the proper education, they can then use that to make better decisions in the future. The next thing that I want to talk about is collaboration, or in another word, community. More can be accomplished by a community than by one individual. Not one person can solve the issue that littering is today. We all have to work together to be able to do that. Gifford and Hine, published in 1997, identified 14 factors which promote cooperation. Among the most influential factors include communication between group members, territorialization in resources, and social values. All of these things relate to community in one way or another. Like we just talked about, communication is important so that everybody knows what to do and why they're doing it. Communication is also important to make sure that everyone within the same group is on the same page about what they're doing and how they're doing it and why they're doing it. It helps people to organize community events or for certain people to take leadership and ownership of certain projects. It's just a very important tool when you're trying to get anything done within a community, and to make sure that your community members are well educated about what's going on in their community is very important. Territorialization is actually interesting to talk about when it comes to littering. It's been found that whenever there are distinct lines drawn between certain territories or communities, then people take more sense of responsibility for taking care of that territory or community because it's more directly their community that is shared. And that goes hand in hand with social values. People value appearances and keeping a space clean and showing that they care about their community and their environment. Mark Van Noot actually did a study on this with his colleagues back in 1997. He published writing about it in 2009. They did research on the 1997 water shortage in the UK, and they actually found that people who had a stronger sense of community were more likely to do the environmentally correct thing without financial incentive. So in that case it was saving water, and in this case it's not littering. Again, you can get a lot more done with many people, especially against something as pervasive as the issue of littering, than if you just have one person. The last thing that I want to talk about today, the last solution that I have, is leadership or role models. You know, humans are social creatures. We are more likely to do the right thing when we see somebody else do the right thing, especially if it's somebody that we look up to or aspire to be like, you know, our role models. And with younger people being one of the biggest culprits of littering, it's really important that we have the right ambassadors to showcase the proper behavior and the right thing to do when it comes to taking care of the environment and, you know, the area that we live in, our space, and not just throwing our garbage on the ground. These role models can be celebrities. I mean, honestly, whether they're posting it on social media, whether Ryan Reynolds is doing commercials where he's literally just picking something up off the ground and throwing it away, or instead of throwing something in the trash can, he throws it in the recycling bin. It sounds simple, but it really could work. On a community level, if you're a leader in your community, you can collaborate with other community leaders or with parents and help to make sure that youth are educated and in the know about what to do and what not to do when it comes to littering and taking care of the community. You can facilitate group projects for children to learn about what the proper behavior is and what is not acceptable in your community. On the other end of this, we can use social media to shame unwanted behavior. It might sound a little bit mean to take a video of somebody littering and go online to ridicule them, but again, we're here not to make excuses for other people, but to end this kind of behavior for good. As I said before, we judge litterers harshly, and sometimes we take a video of them and post it online for other people to do the same. I suggest doing it on TikTok because that's where most young people are nowadays, and that is the target audience. So communication, collaboration, leadership, those are just 3 solutions to ending littering for good. Let's be honest, it's not going to end overnight, and these are just some of the options to help us attack littering and the problem that it is, and it's a very pervasive problem. There's work being done now, and all we can do is keep trying. And if you or someone you know litters, stop or make them stop. And the only reason that you need is that you live here too. So stop destroying the planet and stop standing by while other people destroy the planet. Just remember, enjoy, don't destroy.